everybody, welcome to Happy, Healthy, Stronger. I'm your host, Lindsay. Today's show is really interesting and very, very different. I have a friend of mine coming on from a place called Salt Chamber. And Salt Chamber is a very interesting, new to me and maybe new to you, way of treating many ailments that plague our families and treating it all naturally. So I'm really excited to have him here. And then please stay tuned afterwards for my favorite thing at Raw Juice, which is a solution, and we're going to find out every ingredient that's in there and how to make this at home if you're not feeling good and if you're not near raw juice. The benefits are outstanding, so stay tuned. We have an amazing show coming up. Hi everybody, please welcome to the show Leo Tonkin from Salt Chamber. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I want to tell you how Leo actually got here. I had a phone call from someone. I experience asthma every once in a while, and they were talking just in general about their asthma and about some other things, and they had mentioned salt therapy. And of course, I always tell people, and when I do their nutrition, to have pink Himalayan sea salt, and I had no idea, embarrassingly, that it had all of these other aspects for your health. And I brought Leo here today because I begged him in his busy schedule to come down here and share this information that is absolutely vital for you to listen to. And I'm going to say there's so many other reasons, and I know you're going to get into them, but the reason for me, primarily, initially, actually, for our conversation is to discuss the fact that any kind of respiratory issue on the acute level or on the daily level or or any kind whatsoever, this is therapy for, but tremendous. So could you just explain to our viewers what exactly the Salt Chamber is and what exactly the benefits are?
Sure. Well, a lot of people are familiar with salt therapy. So people have used salt as a therapeutic tool, if you will, for wellness in a variety of ways. Many people are familiar with neti pots. As a kid, I gargled with salt water, still do. So people are familiar with the therapeutic side. Just like going by the ocean, people feel better when they're in the salt air and swimming in the water.
Right.
What we're talking about here is what's called dry salt therapy. So dry salt therapy, which is also known as halotherapy, is a particular style of salt therapy where you are inhaling microscopic particles of salt that get deep into the respiratory system and they get onto the skin. And basically there are facilities that are opening up all over the country where you go to places and you are sitting in a room relaxing. They're designed very, unique ways, like a salt cave or with Himalayan salt.
It almost looks like a sauna in some cases too.
Yeah, that's what a lot of spas are doing, where they, like you would go into a steam or a sauna room, this is now a salt room. And what you do are relaxing, but the therapeutic side of this is that you're breathing in these salt particles, and they have three unique characteristics. One is that it's super absorbent. So while most people are familiar with wet salt, this is dry, and the drier the better. Why? Because when you inhale the dry salt, it absorbs the toxicity out of the system. People have extra mucus. People that have allergens and toxin. The salt crystal itself absorbs it and passes it through the system. Salt is also anti-inflammatory. So when you use salt, much like cooking, and you put it on meat and it expands, for the lungs, it expands the lung capacity. So people that have COPD, asthma, other respiratory conditions, it opens up the air passages. Salt's also antibacterial. So at the level in terms of how it impacts the microbes that cause bacteria and viruses to spread, it kills that off. So in many countries, this has been a modality that's been around for centuries in Eastern Europe.
Centuries, yes.
Centuries.
Yeah, I read it.
In the past few decades, there are thousands of places in Europe that are opened up for this modality. And just over the last 6-7 years, has it begun to come here to the United States. And more people are finding out about it. And there's facilities all around here in the Palm Beach County area that have a variety of locations where people are going. Adults, young children can do it. And it's not just for people with respiratory conditions, but it impacts people with skin conditions the same way. A lot of eczema, psoriasis, rosacea is caused by inflammation. And when you get these very minuscule particles of salt deep into the skin, it is anti-inflammatory as well.
And I believe we discuss acne as well.
Yeah, people that have acne, the same principles of it drying it out. So it gets into the deep epidermis and it pulls out the oily skin. It actually dries it
and
out.
It kills the bacteria.
Kills bacteria that cause it from spreading.
Right.
So there's just a lot of varieties of how it's been used. In fact, in Europe, there are places like in Italy and in Poland where this is actually a medical treatment that's covered by insurance, and it is prescribed by physicians.
It's covered by insurance.
Yeah. I mean, the United States, we have a different health model.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
We're getting better, though. We really are.
Much better, and just like what chiropractic or acupuncture or other modalities, our environment here in the United States has been about prescribing medicine, the pharmaceutical industry. They want you to keep buying inhalers and doing things. Of
course, right.
So now you have a new natural modality, and the evidence is there. I mean, there's a lot of medical studies that have been published around this, a lot of clinical studies that are published out there. So there is empirical evidence. There's a lot of science-based evidence. But more importantly, it's the testimonies of the mothers with their kids and how it's impacting people with cystic fibrosis.
I want to get into that, actually.
Yeah, all that.
What's interesting about that is a bunch of the studies that I've read had to deal with, some of them with infants.
Yeah.
You can never say there's a placebo effect with an infant, because an infant isn't going inside saying, okay, this is going to help you. They don't understand that. They're going inside with chronic asthma.
Yeah.
And I read that whole entire study with a group of infants, and they're coming out, and the asthma, the inhaler use is almost gone.
Yeah, we have a young woman who has cystic fibrosis, and she's been doing salt therapy on a regular basis. She hasn't been back to the hospital in over a year. And people with cystic fibrosis, and what their specific measures of certain aspects of their condition greatly improved, and now their physicians are starting to take wind of this. And we have a pulmonologist that's in Orlando that's done some studies with people with cystic fibrosis, which is his specialty. We have respiratory therapists that are getting involved with this. We have allergists getting involved with this.
Yeah, it's up and coming.
Yeah, so while it's a growing modality that a lot of people may not know about, I think even people here in your viewing network here locally in the South Florida area don't know about it, but they're seeing places that are opening up. There's places in Parkland, there's places in Boynton Beach, there's places in Palm Beach, in Delray.
Yeah, and
it's all over.
And and that's one of the reasons I have you on here too, is because I'm in this industry and I didn't understand the benefits of it. And when I sit down and I talk to you, I was beside myself, because I think that, especially as a parent, and I have 3 kids, that if I had an opportunity, if my daughter had asthma, even if one of my kids had terrible acne, that acne medicine is horrendous for their liver. They have to have their liver checked. To take something, to go into a salt therapy booth and sit there, which is less than the cost of the medicine for sure, and to sit there and to just do something that all around is phenomenal, for them is such a much better alternative, for them all around.
Safe. I mean, there's hardly any contraindications for this modality at all. There are certain stages of lung cancer and tuberculosis and other aspects, like people with cystic fibrosis aren't to be with other people in some areas, but in terms of what it does for people, in terms of, as you're talking about, from a respiratory condition, the evidence is just out there and it's working.
Just fabulous.
And so what you find happening is mothers with young kids, they're going to some of these facilities, and it's really great. They have a kids-themed room where they have Himalayan salt is on the floor. They've got cool wall murals, and the kids are playing in it like it's a beach, and they're playing with salt. The salt is in the air, and it's just a very small amount of small particles, so it's not like you're walking into a room like a steam room.
I've done it.
Right. I know, you were there.
Leo was kind enough to let me in it, and it wasn't very long. How many minutes was it?
Well, you were in a more of a smaller space. It was more for an individual, and a session in that is about 10 to 15 minutes, and depending on the size of the room, people are sitting in these really unique spa environments and really nice chairs, and maybe it's a 30 to 45 minute session, and people are going on a regular basis. But now we're finding that people, not just with respiratory conditions and not just skin conditions, just general respiratory hygiene, as we like to talk about it.
Hygiene, how fabulous is that?
Well, I mean, you go to the dentist.
A toothbrush. A toothbrush for your lungs.
Yeah, you go to the dentist, and if you think about it, if you watch the evening news at 6:30, right, and national ads, the most expensive advertising, what are the ads that you're watching? Typically, it's the pharmaceutical companies. And what are they advertising? Mostly respiratory conditions. It's
like
mostly
COPD,
about COPD and asthma and all of these drugs.
I know, but the worst part is when they say at the end, this may cause this, and this, and my little one always says to me, Mom, I think I'd rather have COPD than have this, and this. I'm like, coming out of the mouth of a child.
Right.
But of course, I'm not knocking, because people in acute situations, oh my gosh, it's probably the most amazing relief. But you could do something without drugs. At least try. Never go off your drugs at a doctor's supervision, but maybe you can ask your doctor if you are suffering from something like that. I mean, you're suffering. If you could find something natural to do, oh my gosh, it's a gift.
And it's a good thing to say, because we're not saying that this replaces anybody medication. And people that have physicians, you should consult with them, as you should with anything that you do. But the evidence of what people are doing it's a great modality. But aside from the people that, quote, will benefit the most out of this with respiratory and skin conditions is we live in an environment where there's more airborne diseases than ever before. Pollution is increasing. Respiratory conditions are the number one issues that people face all around the world. And that's only going to keep increasing. So we need to get better air quality, and most people are always bombarded in environments with electromagnetic frequencies. We're in front of our screens all the time. We're bombarded by positive ions. Inside the salt room, you also have negative ionization that occurs, and that's just like it helps reduce stress and anxiety. So it is a general wellness modality for people. Athletes are now getting into it because of the anti-inflammatory properties of expanding lung function. Their ability to have increased oxygen capacity increases their performance and recovery time.
Without any drugs that are bad.
You're not going to get flagged in the Olympics for anything. So, and this has been, it was in, a lot of athletes are doing this currently.
That's fine. We're going to take a quick break and get back to, once again, we're going to go right back to Primal here and tell you the benefits, again, just of the sea salt. We've discussed some realities. I think that around that we've discussed the benefits. I wanted the actual benefits when we get back so you guys can know how important and how useful this could be in your and your family's life. So just 1 second. We'll see you in a minute. Hi guys, welcome back. We have Leo Tonkin still here with us from Salt Chamber. Leo, we left with a whole bunch of information. I just wonder if we can just sum up the benefits, and I want to move on from there. What again are the benefits of the salt?
Well, salt therapy impacts people both from a respiratory perspective and skin in terms of what its major impacts are.
Right.
The characteristics of inhaling or having dry salt on you is that it's anti-inflammatory. So it opens up the air passageways inside of the lungs, as well as the conditions like psoriasis and skin conditions that are inflamed. So that's anti-inflammatory. It is antibacterial. The salt kills. In the old days, they used to put salt on wounds. Similarly, when you inhale salt at the microbe level, it's stopping viruses from spreading and it's killing off bacteria. Likewise with skin, like people with acne and has bacteria and such, it helps the microbes from spreading and kills them off.
It's excellent, amazing.
The last piece of it is that salt's super absorbent. That's why it's called dry, which is very different from wet salt by the ocean. A lot of people compare this type of salt therapy like being by the ocean. Those salt particles are saturated by the moisture of the water that's in the ocean. And as effective that people feel from this is like salt therapy on steroids. When you have a dry salt particle, it's absorbent. If you cook, you ever put salt on eggplant, it draws the moisture out. Likewise, when you inhale it, it draws the moisture out and all of that through the system. And that's the primary benefit of what people are getting it, so that it's anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and that it's super absorbent.
And all natural, which I love. Now, I know a lot of people, and I'd like to make this distinction because I called it pink Himalayan sea salt, which of course is amazing for you to ingest, in your food and whatnot. But and you reminded me on the break that I kind of made a mistake here, because there are people that come home with that pink Himalayan salt lamp that you plug in. There's a distinct difference here.
Yeah, I mean, Himalayan salt is, to your point, is one of the best salts to have in terms of digestion and bathing in it. It's got up to 84 trace minerals and elements, and it's a real healthy salt. But it's also great for a decor element as well. So a lot of our business is utilizing Himalayan salt in bricks and different structures to create a cool spa type environment. But the Himalayan salt lamps that people buy, when you heat Himalayan salt, it does release negative ions. It helps counterbalance the surface area of creating clean air. But it doesn't put salt particles in the air. So some people that may think that if I put a salt lamp on my desk or in my bedroom or anything, it's not what we call salt therapy. That's just, there's some benefit to it. But that's why we use it as a decor element. But it's not what we call dry salt therapy and halotherapy.
Right. The difference, it doesn't have the antibacterial qualities it does because it's not emitting salt into the air.
It's not putting salt into the air. And, people are familiar with Dead Sea salt, and there are a variety of different salts. The salt that people are inhaling is natural salt from the oceans and the earth, but it's been purified, so what you're left with is 99.99% pure sodium chloride. It's a special process of a grade of salt that has no caking agents. It's not iodized. You don't want to go out there and now start sniffing up, Morton salt or anything like that.
I don't even do that.
No, but this is the device is getting these particles so small you barely see them unless you put a light to it. So it gets deep into the skin, deep into the lungs. So this is the type of salt. A lot of people ask us, oh, well, what if I'm on a low sodium diet? You know,
Yes,
can I be exposed to, you know, a salt room? And that's more of the digestive tract, as you were just saying. This has nothing to do with the digestive tract. This is the respiratory system.
Right, so it
it's safe for
doesn't-
people
right.
that, you know, if they have, you know, a low sodium diet, they can be in a salt room.
Right, and we're not, you know, when we're talking about it, a lot of people have misconceptions with the salt. On a tangent for a second,
Yeah.
that most of those, you know, diseases that are associated with salt and high sodium have to do with table salt.
Yeah.
You know, the pink Himalayan sea salt is a whole different
Yeah, it's
ballgame
a different
yeah.
chemical compound.
Right.
And then salt structures themselves, they kind of have a toothbrush effect. So in addition to inhaling and getting into your skin, it's scrubbing a bit in terms of the cavities, in terms of the bronchial systems, and into the skin. So there's an added benefit when you have pure sodium chloride in your system.
It's just, this is such useful and incredible information, because I know there's a ton of people, my mom being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when my mom moved here to Florida, she had chronic sinusitis, and so many of my clients have allergies.
Yeah.
And I know that you've had some serious good reactions from those two.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it today, 1 in 12 people have asthma. People have, you know, the flu season. You have the people that are traveling back and forth from up north to the south, jet lag, people that have been in stale air. So there's just so many benefits that it provides people, and it works. I mean, you can do it, you know, all the time. You can't overdose from it.
Right.
When you start going to these facilities that are around, you'll actually feel some benefit right away. And those that have more acute issues are going more frequently.
Right, you know, when I went, it's very benign. You sit there and you don't know. I mean, you hear it go off. But
Right.
I read a magazine and I sat down. I'll post what the picture of it looks like. That's just one small chamber for a single person.
Yeah.
The caves are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Maybe we can show a couple of slides here
Sure,
of the caves
sure.
afterwards.
Yeah,
We put this in so
absolutely.
you guys can see how beautiful they are set up in the spa. It's actually just relaxing too. But most importantly, the benefits are outrageous.
Yeah, and that's, I think, why, you know, you see today in the marketplace, you're finding more and more of these facilities opening up that are devoted to salt. So you'll go to a place and they'll maybe have an adult room or a kid's room or
Yeah.
a private room. And now you're seeing a variety of places adding salt therapy. Some of the high-end resorts, you know, we just opened up a place at the Four Seasons in Hawaii. We have some of the largest spas in the world that are adding salt therapy because it's providing that value-added wellness factor.
Yes.
So spas that were mostly about how you feel and how you look, now they're really bringing a wellness component to it.
Right, and I think that's our general trend, and I'm crossing my fingers that that's the general trend, to try and get away from, you know, the medical, not in acute situations, a way of healing yourself.
Yep.
And taking control of your own health, of course with the advice of a doctor, but in preventative.
Yep.
Preventative. There's no harm in going to a salt chamber. There's no harm in, you know, eating properly and things like that.
Yeah. And
you know,
more and more
so-
people, and actually there's a lot of people in the traditional medical community that are finding out about
Yes.
it. I know some people go to their doctors and will ask about this, and some of them haven't learned about this and have looked at the research.
But some of them actually recommend it.
And that's where I'm saying, now
Yeah.
that they have patients that have been going and they're reporting about it, there's now becoming more of an awareness around it, and that's one of the reasons why we created the Salt Therapy Association, so that we can do a lot more education and awareness and start working with some of the other associations out there, like with cystic fibrosis and allergies and heart, and, you know, a lot of where people have conditions. So we're partnering with them in a variety of ways to bring more attention and awareness, because it's such an effective modality.
Yeah, and actually, I know someone actually has one of them in their homes, which is really interesting. I know that they're a company like yourself, right?
Yeah.
I believe you guys actually build them for people's houses and for spas, and you guys actually build the actual
Yeah, we
chamber,
don't
right?
own and operate. We are the manufacturers, suppliers, and the educators around salt therapy.
Right.
So there are facilities that are opening up that are focused on salt therapy. There are facilities that are adding this as a modality in a day spa or a wellness center or a med spa.
Right.
The resort spas, as I mentioned. But there's people that can do this in their home, where it's cost effective for them. There, you can build your own small salt room, or we have what we call a salt booth, which is an individual
That's what
session.
I was in.
Yeah, that's
And
what
I'll
you
show you
were
that.
in.
I'll show you that.
And there's just a variety of different ways
Right.
that you can do it.
So how would someone find out? Can they? You said the education is there. Is there education on YouTube? Where can they find out more information?
Well, there's the salttherapyassociation.org, and there's a lot
Okay.
of the research and published articles there. And on our site at saltchamberinc.com, you'll be able to find a lot of information, or information for home use, or a variety of different information you can find out.
Okay, and as far as finding out who actually has a salt booth or a salt
We
group in
we have a directory that's on our website.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
You can find it out. I mean, like I mentioned, there's several of them here in the Palm Beach County area. There's close to over 200 facilities now in the United States, of which we've done about 85% of the market.
That's amazing. So, guys, we have the power to take care of ourselves, and that's the beauty of it. And our market and our lifestyles are so changing toward everything natural and trying everything possible to be less polluted and more natural so that we can be on the preventative side and try to avoid some of these things rather than to get to the point where we have to treat them. So this is one thing that I brought to your attention because it is amazing for your kids, amazing for your family. So please, again, what was that website?
The salttherapyassociation.org
okay,
and saltchamberinc.com.
Perfect. Please take a look. You can message me on Facebook, and I can get you in touch with Leo for any more information that you like. This is really good. I am so grateful to have you on. I think that this is such an amazing modality for people and non-invasive.
Appreciate you having me. Come on down and get salted.
Get salted. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, welcome to the juicing portion of Happy, Healthy, Stronger. We have raw juice Teddy guy here. Teddy, we're going to call him from now on. We're calling him Ryan because he looks like Ryan Reynolds.
Only today.
No, he always looks like Ryan. So we're calling him Ryan. He's now Ryan. Okay.
Fair enough.
So today we have my favorite shot. Again, we're not doing the traditional juice. We are going to do a shot, and they look like this.
Booster shots.
Booster shots. And they're really potent because they're cold pressed. But the reason we're doing one here is you can actually go to Raw Juice in 3 locations now to actually get it. But you can also make these at home. If you're feeling like yuck, because this is a flu shot and there's so many medicinal things in here, so each ingredient has its own little yummy tidbit, and that way you know when you're making it at home. Just make it a little bit bigger than this if you're making it at home because it's not cold pressed. Cold press is the best and organic way to do it. Okay, so what is in the number 4, by the way, which I have almost 3 or 4 of every day. I'm so bad.
Right, we literally have to up our production just for you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I really have that many. I love it. I actually like for the taste. The medicinal qualities are outrageous in this one, but for the taste, this is the flu shot number 4 at Raw Juice. Make this at home if you can't get to Raw Juice. What's in here?
Some of the items that we have here today: pineapple, raw honey, lemon. There's ginger. There's cayenne. And the last item we have is garlic.
Garlic. Okay, great. Okay, so now there is definitely a garlic bite to this. So when you're pressing, this one's probably don't put in the blender. Probably press this one if you have a juice press.
Press it,
yeah, because this one's really, really strong.
And a little bit goes along with garlic. Oh my goodness.
Oh yes, for sure. Like what, 1 clove you think in this for someone doing it at home?
For if you're doing it at home, yeah.
1 clove. Okay.
Try to get 1 clove.
Let's talk about the garlic first because this is like the flu shot, and for me, I know that garlic. Whenever I'm getting a cold, I OD on vitamin C.
Right.
And I also take a lot of garlic. I actually chew it. Sorry. I chew it. My
it's
husband
painful, but it works.
Very, very far away from me. He's like, I chew it. You can smell it in my skin. I actually stink. I kind of like the taste, though, and the smell, but that's besides the point. But when you chew it raw, it burns your mouth.
Yes.
But I put it in water.
Like chewing on
and
ginger.
I swallow it.
I
don't feel the same burning with this. It's kind of nice like this. You know, it's much better. And it has a major what's the word?
Antimicrobial, antioxidants.
Yes. But antibiotics. That's what I'm saying. It has a major antibiotic effect where if you caught it early enough and you take enough of it,
it can zap it out.
It can zap it out. It's phenomenal. Now, it's not going to take the place of something. Always see your doctor first. However, this is a great place to start. I mean, amazing. I do it every single time I feel a cold coming on.
Take enough of this, you won't have to see your doctor.
Yeah. What else about garlic that's in there?
It helps lower your cholesterol. Definitely helps lower your cholesterol.
And your blood pressure, right?
And your blood pressure.
Yeah.
And then I know you love the sulfur in it.
Right, yeah, because sulfur actually helps protect the sulfur compounds, help protect your
internal organs.
Internal organs, which is amazing. Okay, moving on to the next ingredient because we can talk about garlic forever. Look it up, it's an amazing one, right? Right, we can make a whole show on that.
Yes.
Let's go over my favorite fruit on the planet, and I adore this fruit for so many reasons. This guy is huge, especially for the flu kind of thing, because it reduces inflammation. Big time
anti-inflammatory. Pineapple juice alone is better than any over-the-counter cough medicine. It helps reduce any coughing. So I didn't know that until recently, and now I haven't bought cough syrup or cough medicine in 2.5 years now. I resort to that.
Yeah, it's amazing because it contains an enzyme called bromelain, and bromelain is a major natural anti-inflammatory. And I take it because I'm a runner, and you are too.
Yes.
So this really helps with any inflammation in your body. Again, that's what we're really trying to reduce inflammation. It's the root of a lot of diseases, and a root of a lot of your pain, like arthritis. Really help by bringing the inflammation down in every level. So again, with regards to a flu or something, a cold or something that's coming on, really good for inflammation for your throat, so that you feel better, right?
Speaking of that, on soothing aspect, we got honey right here.
Okay.
So you said talking about soothing your throat, just like pineapple does.
Yes.
Honey's gonna do the same exact thing, antimicrobials, and it's an antibacterial, and it just overall it tastes really good too.
Yeah, it's also really immune enhancing. The honey's really, and it also has antifungal as well. So all these anti-yummy things in here, right? And then of course we got our infamous lemons that are in everything.
Gotta have lemon. Gotta have citrus in everything.
Right, and I'll explain again, they're lemons because maybe someone didn't watch the show prior.
Well, shame on them. But it is any citrus, your body's gonna metabolize it as a base, as alkalized. So we're always fighting to have an alkalized pH. You said the number 7.3 is your perfect number if you can get a test on it. The more alkalized that your body is, the more efficient your body's going to function. An alkalized body gets rid of free radicals, gets rid of oxidative stress, which is linked to so many bodily function problems.
Right. So, in other words, when you add the lemon to something like this, your body, if you're in an acidic state, which you can test with pH paper, with litmus paper rather, and you can either pee on it or you can put it in your mouth. And again, 7.23 is the way to go. But when especially if you're not feeling good, in general, you want to try and be as basic as possible because that is the disease preventing state.
Yes.
So everything's working and functioning better because you're getting rid of free radicals, as you said.
An efficient body is a healthy body.
Efficient body is a healthy body. I did not say anything else on that comment. Okay, and we have cayenne pepper.
It's cayenne pepper. Right? Great digestion enhancer. Also great metabolism booster. So it's
like a thermogenic
kind
of thing,
and the capsaicin in there is capsaicin is the way in which we measure heat in any pepper. Cayenne's obviously on the mid to high side, but the more capsaicin, the better for your body. And in diets such as Mexican diets or Indian diets, there's a high amount of capsaicin. They have the least amount of stomach problems throughout history because of their diet is so centered around peppers. Just fun fact.
It's interesting because it burns, right? So you think the opposite.
Oh my God, something's happening.
Yeah,
but in reality, it's helping keep everything regular and keep your colon cleansed.
Right. It also helps with your circulatory system, right? Yeah. So all around this one, and the last ingredient here, of course, we always talk about, but again, in case anyone hasn't seen the show, ginger. Let's go in depth about ginger. Why ginger's in here?
Anti-inflammatory.
Right, again, throat, yuckiness anywhere in your body. Yep.
Overall body soreness, aches, joints, for arthritis, if you're sore from the gym, if you're sore from a long run, long workout, for your joints. It's fantastic for that.
Yeah, I wrote down two things I actually have to read because things that I did not know. Gingerol is actually the active ingredient in here, right, that does everything. And it actually says today when I was reading that it also may be effective fighting against the RSV virus, which is upper respiratory. So that in here, again, if you feel something coming on, this can actually help you out too, which is a very common upper respiratory issue that people have. And again, the common cold, it heats your upper body, so it helps the common cold and flu and whatnot. So all of this is so amazing to know coming into winter for a lot of people, and the change of seasons kind of get you a little sick. If you feel something coming on, we've got everything right here to really give it a good punch in the face, right?
Knock it out real quick.
Knock it out real fast.
Do yourself a favor and make it at home.
Exactly. So we're going to definitely put this on my website so that you guys can see how to do it. And good luck doing this. It's a really important thing to do. And it's all natural. It's yummy, right?
It's perfect.
Thank you, Ryan. Not Teddy anymore. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Have fun and excite your kids about wildlife at the Palm Beach Zoo. Get close to hundreds of animals like endangered tigers, playful otters, even a Florida panther. The Palm Beach Zoo. It's your zoo.
I don't think I've ever imagined it when I was younger or thinking ahead of what it would be like to have a family, but having two girls, that can be a little tricky financially.
That's why we created American Express Serve, a full-service prepaid account that helps you handle your money simply and affordably. You can upload checks, pay bills online for free, and when you need to, you can always check your balance. With direct deposit, you get same-day access to your paycheck, And you can put money aside for when you need it. Plus, it's all backed by the 24/7 service of American Express. All for just $1 a month.
We won't think about the money in 10 years, but we'll remember that first middle school dance.
Get started today and let your Serve account help you take control of your money with ease.
I think we're doing a pretty good job.
This is what membership